What is the funniest thing that President Trump has said all week, perhaps all month, maybe all quarter? You wouldn't generally think that the leader of the free world would spend his time weighing in on the latest trials and tribulations of one Greta Thunberg. But sure enough, President Trump had this to say. This is Cut 16. Hit it.
She's just a troublemaker, you know. I mean, she's no longer into the environment now. She's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now you can have her. She's just a troublemaker.
How dare you? Remember that? How dare you, President Trump? Oh, the Greta phenomenon it's actually really important, and let me explain why I think that's the case. It's not that she's important or what she stands for, but the Greta phenomenon of what she represents for the left, which is, I would argue, the pinnacle of brainless. Let it have to work hard, I would say, to find a more absurd leader of these globalist left-wing activist movements, whatever you want to call them, than Greta Thunberg. Remember, I guess she's, what is she now? She's probably like in her early 20s. I don't know. But when she started out, it was all about climate change. And she was 16. And CNN and the UN and these entities were treating her like she was some kind of demigod. I mean, they were hanging on her every word when it came to climate change. And it's funny because usually they would say, trust the science. And what about the science? She didn't know any science. She hadn't even taken freshman biology or sophomore chemistry. She's basically a truant. She was not in school. Instead, she was sailing around talking about climate change. And adults who think of themselves as serious and intelligent thought that listening to her was what serious and intelligent people on the left do. And I think that tells you all you need to know about the lack of seriousness of their ideas and their movement and everything else. And that was true on climate change, and Trump points this out. Now it's all about Gaza. Now the problem is Gaza, and I just would say, what is these, and I will ask the question and answer it, but what is it that these left-wing activists really think is supposed to happen after, I mean, here I am talking to you on the anniversary, the 2-year anniversary of October 7th. What do they think is supposed to happen after a mass casualty terror attack of the viciousness and completely unprovoked nature that we saw on October 7th? What do they want Israel to do? I know that there's this, fight a war with, Geneva Convention and more humanitarian. The Israelis have been very humanitarian in the way they fought a war, but war is inherently anti-humanitarian. This is the truth. This is something that everyone, you would think, should and would understand at this point if they were trying to know about what's really at issue here. There's no such thing as a war that is fought that doesn't have terrible tragedy and loss. War is hell is true. The Israelis are trying to make it less hellish, but they have every right to fight this war. And I view this, and have from the very beginning, as quite straightforward. Hamas chose this fight. It is a very bad idea. It is a very dumb thing to do, to invade and provoke a war with a more powerful entity. But what we know from Hamas and the way that they operate is they want to both kill Israelis and provoke the killing of their own people to then blame on the Israelis. And this strategy is something that a lot of people in America, unfortunately, are falling for. And the left, because they have this predilection to always side with the people they view as the victims, Democrats, the left, the communists, they think that the Palestinians are a fashionable cause. But really, it's been fascinating to watch how the arguments that are leveled against Israel if you just apply basic scrutiny to it, you realize this is a very poor argument, a very dishonest argument, and that there's often something at issue, I think, much deeper than just criticism of the conduct of the war. The criticism often, I think, seems to come from a deeper place, especially on the left. I'll get back into this here in a moment, but our sponsor is Birch Gold. And look at where the price of gold is right now. It's going to continue, my friends, to be a good idea to put a portion of your savings in gold. Maybe consider having some retirement savings like IRA or 401k in gold, whether it's as a hedge against inflation or you just believe in the long-term gold thesis. And Birch Gold Group is ready to get you into gold. This is who I trust. This is who I buy my gold from. Diversify with gold like I do from the Birch Gold Group. Make now your first time to buy gold. Take advantage of a rebate of up to $10,000 when you buy by September 30th. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Claim your eligibility today. Again, text Buck to 989898. Birch Gold Group, my friends. That's who you should go with. So here's Trump on the situation with Hamas. This is Cut 18. Play it.
The people of Israel want it to happen, but the people related to hostages, I mean, you see in Israel tens of thousands of people. They really want the hostages back, and they really want things to end. And I think Hamas now has been, all I can say is they've been fine. They've been fine. I hope it's going to continue that way. I think it will. I really think we're going to have a deal. We have a really good chance of making a deal, and it'll be a lasting deal. We want to have peace. This is beyond Gaza. Gaza is a big deal, but this is really peace in the Middle East.
I hope that this is true and that there's a broader peace that can be achieved here. Remember, there is. Let's talk about the positive, the upside case here for what's going on. Broadly speaking, in the Middle East, I think the position of Israel could soon be more secure, and the Middle East across the board could be less influenced by malevolent actors, terrorist groups, terrorist entities than at any time in decades. Hezbollah has been defanged. Hamas has been largely eradicated. Iran's nuclear program has been truly set back for the foreseeable future. And more than that, Iran is on notice that we'll just blow up your stuff if you keep playing these games, or the Israelis will. Or we will too, actually, as we know. But with all of that happening, there is a chance here for things to quiet down in a region that has seemed allergic to quiet for, unfortunately, far too long. And that's a good thing. But it will come at the price of a lot of fighting that has been underway, and the Israelis have had to take on this enemy of Hamas. The people that are saying, I might note, that we need to recognize a Palestinian state, what has gone on here that indicates that a Palestinian state is in any way a good idea? Just think about that I know people saying they recognize a Palestinian state. Well, what has happened that, let's do a little review. Israel gave Gaza to Palestinian control, made a unilateral decision. You know what? Fine, you can have Gaza. And they turned Gaza into an authoritarian Islamist hellhole and a launch pad for terrorism. And it all came to a head on October 7th, 2 years ago. Hamas was the elected leadership, to the degree that there are free elections there, which there aren't, but they had elections and Hamas won. And there's a lot of support from the people, we're led to believe at least, a lot of people of Gaza have supported Hamas. So you want to reward that with a state? Why would they be better this time around running a state than they were the last time? I mean, these are all very fair questions. And these are questions for which I do not think they have any realistic answer in the corridors where criticism of Israel is such a common thing. So, or such really a compulsion. There's a compulsion, I think, to criticize Israel. And it's more than criticizing is fine. It's more along the lines of maligning and hatred, as if the problem is the rules-based civilization upholding Israeli state and not the terror death cult of Hamas. Remember, Hamas is the government of Gaza. So it was a terrorist government that attacked, And the people are there's going to be a price paid by a civilian population when they are led by terrorists. That is just a clear reality. And one thing that I would note, with all the arguments going on about Gaza and Israel and Hamas and all this stuff right now, and this was a very, very powerful argument in the GWAT days from Christopher Hitchens, the socialist but very good on Islamism, very talented writer. He said that if the fighting against terrorism is the cause of it, then the terrorists always get to win. And that is the truth of Hamas. If taking the fight to Hamas after they do something like October 7th is the real problem, if the response is the real problem, well, then they win. And it seems very clear to me, especially with people calling for ceasefires, that is the whole design of this thing. Israel is just supposed to take it and suffer and be destroyed. And anything other than that, there's going to be people finding a way. They're going to contort all logic and morality to make it actually that Israel is the problem. Sponsor here is Paradigm Press. Look, AI is a big deal. As technology advances go, AI is going to be a game changer. That is obvious. President Trump wants to see our country emerge as the leader in artificial intelligence again. And this current administration is doing a lot to that end. I think they're preparing an estimated $1 trillion plus in investment, drawing in multiple partners. I call it the Manhattan Project, too, to take back our lead in the AI arms race. Could trigger an investment boom that hits soon, as in this month soon. I break it all down in a brand new interview, including the companies that I believe could soar when this comes about. Find this interview and all the details online at our website, offair25.com. That's offair25.com, paid for by Paradigm Press. So where is this all going with Israel, the Middle East, and Hamas? I think that we're going to see the Trump administration could very well broker a deal here that if it was any other administration, you'd be hearing about Nobel Peace Prize. The thing about Trump and a Nobel Peace Prize is these things have always been held up by the establishment, by the global elites as having all this meaning. But I think Arafat got a Nobel Peace Prize. Barack Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize just for being alive. So it's been demeaned as an award. But the funny thing about it is that if they had to give it to Trump, it would just drive the libs insane. So much of what we see going on with Trump that is worthwhile and that makes me smile. And that rhymed. So much of it is just about antagonizing the worst elements in American society by Trump being funny or doing something that upsets their apple cart. And so that part of it, I have to say, I am all in favor of. I mean, that aspect of what's going on here is always fun. But so getting that award, I think, would greatly upset them. And I also, as you know, I was in Taiwan, and if you should go check out the interview. By the way, Bloomberg has picked it up now. A lot of Asian news services, news organizations have picked it up. The sit down with President Lai, I think that, look, Taiwan's going to be the next major flashpoint. Right now it's Russia, Ukraine. Israel and Gaza are coming to a conclusion. Russia, Ukraine still going on, but there's some stasis there, as in both sides are dug in. You don't have these massive changes in territory or anything like that. Having seen all that I've seen from being in Taiwan and meeting with the top leadership there, including the president, the vice president, national security advisor, National Security Council, touring a military base, touring drone factories. I mean, all the things that we had going on there. China's preparing to invade this country, and that's going to be a huge problem. Even if you don't care about Taiwan at all, and I mean, I think that we should care insofar as, well, there's certainly a moral argument you can make, but we're not the world's police. I get that. But we have to care because of the technology production that they have. Our world ceases to function the way that it currently is set up if Taiwan isn't making the semiconductors, the microchips that it currently produces. And I mean that. It's not just a supply chain issue. It's an economic issue. It's a technology issue. You are watching this on a device that is only possible because of what Taiwan makes every day. You are listening to this on a device that is only possible because of what. How did this small country become the global leader in manufacturing these things? That's a whole story unto itself, but it's the truth. And we can't change that right now. And we have to pay attention to it, therefore. And to let that slide into Chinese Communist Party hands would be a disaster. But Trump figuring out a way to also calm that situation would be worthy, I think, of a Nobel Peace Prize, to the degree we care about a Nobel Peace Prize, which is obviously debatable. I want to tell you about Preborn. They're doing incredible work. To date, they've saved the lives of 40,000 unborn babies. Preborn's mission is to save lives every day by presenting pregnant mothers contemplating an abortion with a better alternative, life for their unborn child. A team of people working at Preborn clinics provide pregnant moms with offers of support and assistance. They've also found that offering the gift of an ultrasound to that pregnant mom can make all the difference. And they accomplish this with just $28 expense per ultrasound. So please, would you consider a donation today? Preborn operates clinics in communities across our nation, especially where abortion rates are really high, because they want to save as many babies as possible. To donate securely, just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, say the keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/buck, preborn.com/BUCK. Sponsored by Preborn. All right, that's the show from DC Today. More tomorrow. Shield time.